The world may call you emotional, unstable, too much. But here's the truth. Your feelings are valid. Your response is power. In today's video, we explore how ancient Stoicism gives modern women the tools to rise, not by hardening, but by mastering the calm within. Picture the lobby of a glossy downtown tower, marble floors, glass walls, an echo that makes every pair of heels sound like a gavel. It's 8:43 a.m. on a Tuesday, and the air is already prickling with rumor. Seconds ago, someone hit "reply all" on an email meant for one set of eyes. A leaked budget sheet, peppered with errors, stamped with her name. Now the open office hums like an angry hive, colleagues trading glances, managers refreshing inboxes, phones lighting up with the kind of urgent pings that signal trouble. Most people, caught in that spotlight, would feel their pulse detonate. She does not. Instead, she steps from the elevator as if nothing is amiss, shoulders level, breathing measured. 4 counts in, 4 counts out. An invisible metronome she's trained for, mornings exactly like this. A receptionist tries to mouth, "Did you see?" She meets the question with a half smile that neither confirms nor denies. In Stoic terms, externals aren't hers to clutch. Only her response belongs to her. At her desk, the storm swirls louder. Slack messages pile up. "What happened? Are you okay?" "They're blaming you." She answers none of them yet. Instead, she slides noise-cancelling earbuds into place. No music, just silence, and opens the file in question. Line by line, she audits the budget, tagging factual errors in calm blue highlights. She doesn't rage type. She doesn't doom scroll. She observes, verifies. Marcus Aurelius called this the discipline of perception. See what is, not what fear paints over it. 15 minutes later, chaos finds fresh fuel. A director marches over, face flushed. Voices in the office dip as if gravity itself leans in. "We need an explanation," he snarls, loud enough for the second floor to hear. She closes her laptop softly, stands, and gestures toward a glass-walled conference room. No public theatrics, only controlled space. People who crave spectacle rarely know what to do when you deny them a stage. Inside the room, fluorescent lights buzz. She lets the door click shut, then offers the director a seat before taking one herself. Posture upright, elbows off the table. A quiet signal. "I'm not here to battle. I'm here to clarify." When he accuses, she listens. Really listens. No interruptions, no eye-rolling, no defensive sighs. Seneca wrote, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we may listen more and talk less." She embodies the ratio. When it's her turn, she speaks low and steady. The document circulated isn't the final budget. These items, she taps the blue highlights, are placeholders from 2 drafts ago. The correct file sits in our shared drive, time-stamped 7:12 a.m. If you open it, you'll see the reconciliation notes and the approvals. No flourish, no blame, just facts laid out like stepping stones over a river of panic. The director's shoulders loosen a centimeter. He glances at the screen. Silence stretches 5 seconds, 6, 7. She does not rush to fill it. Empty space often does more convincing than frantic words. Finally, he nods, exhales, and mutters an apology camouflaged as gratitude. Good catch. Crisis drains away, like dye swirling clear in water. Meanwhile, outside those glass walls, the hive still hums. Her phone vibrates with fresh theories, politics, sabotage, assumptions. She resists the pull to broadcast victory. Stoic calm isn't a performance, it's an internal climate. Instead, she sends a single-sentence update in the team channel. Issue resolved. See correct file in Drive. No emoticons, no subtext. She lets the facts speak, then returns to her workflow unhurried. Hours later, someone from HR whispers, "How did you stay so chill?" She smiles, genuine this time, because here's her quiet secret. Fear was present, yes, a flutter in the ribs, but she greeted it like an old acquaintance rather than a tyrant. She practiced last night, like every night. Breathing drills, journaling the worst-case scenario, reminding herself that reputation, like weather, changes quickly and rarely deserves panic. By rehearsing adversity in advance, she rendered it small on arrival. The real measure isn't that she prevented gossip, she didn't, or that everyone now sees her innocence, some won't. It's that chaos failed to rewrite her inner script. Epictetus taught that storms outside cannot sink a ship unless they breach the hull. She kept her hull intact, tight seams of self-command. Tomorrow, a new crisis may knock. She's already building the muscle memory tonight. And so, the day ends where it began. Elevator doors sliding shut, lobby lights dimming. She watches her reflection in the mirrored wall, steadier than the polished steel around her. Calm in chaos is not luck. It's a skill, sharpened day after day, choice after choice, until the rare woman carries her own weather system, immune to the office squall, family drama, headline panic. Because while the world spins on a shaky axis, she stands inside a circle she controls completely. Breath in, breath out, observe, respond, never react. Imagine a crowded rooftop lounge at sunset, string lights blinking awake, chatter rising in layered crescendos, and phones angling for that perfect skyline shot. It is the sort of scene built for display. Sequined dresses competing with neon cocktails, jokes delivered at a decibel meant to slice through the noise. Near the bar, clusters of self-promoters orbit like restless satellites, each hoping gravity will bend an ear their way. Yet the rare woman stands a few paces apart, half turned toward the horizon as if listening to something only she can hear. A minor chord in the wind, perhaps, or the quiet hum of her own thoughts. She is not hiding. She is simply not hunting. There's a difference. Hunting demands constant motion, scanning for eyes to capture, laughs to commandeer, approval to notch like trophies. She understands that pursuit breeds scarcity. People sense the chase and instinctively retreat. So she does the opposite. She roots. One sandal-clad foot crosses lightly over the other. Shoulders settle back. Her breathing matches the slow fade of daylight. Marcus Aurelius called it standing straight, not straightened. Notice the nuance. Posture from within, not forced by eager posture checking. And then it happens. A ripple. Someone at the nearest high top glances her way, twice. A man leans into his date and whispers something. They both look over, curious. Not drawn by noise or spectacle, but by an energy that feels self-contained, like a sealed lantern emitting steady light. In a world that confuses volume for value, stillness reads as confidence. Across the deck, a local influencer, tens of thousands of followers, big laugh, bigger gestures, pivots to greet a new arrival. Her stories splash neon on the conversation, but half the group's attention keeps sliding back toward the quiet glow nearby. It is as though their peripheral vision refuses to let the rare woman slip away. The influencer notices the drift and ups her wattage. Wider grin, louder punchline. Still, the lantern wins. You might assume the rare woman cultivated this on purpose. True, she has rituals. Silent morning pages instead of scrolling. Midday walks without music. Evenings surrendered to a single novel instead of 3 screens. Those practices feed the glow, yes, but she is not performing calm. She is inhabiting it. Seneca urged the philosopher to be rather than to appear. Paradoxically, genuine being produces the strongest appearance of all. A server nearly spills rosé while watching her pass. "Sorry," he blurts, cheeks flushing. She meets his eyes, nods once, and says, "All good," with such even warmth that the apology feels received in full. No extra words required. He beams, straightens the tray, moves on lighter. That is command without grasping, leaving people better, not indebted. Later, she drifts toward a circle discussing a new fintech startup. Their sentences sprint, stuffed with acronyms, stakes, and elevator pitch bravado. She listens first, the rarest social courtesy, then asks a single clarifying question about user trust protocols. The circle pauses, recalculates, and one founder admits they skipped that piece in version 1. She offers no smugness, only a thoughtful, might be worth baking in early. Trust costs more if you retrofit. Her tone is soft enough to land as advice, precise enough to register as authority. Now others edge closer, noticing how she adds oxygen rather than stealing it. A woman from marketing leans over. "I never caught your name." She replies, "Lena." Nothing more. No resume download. The marketer smiles, repeats the name, and laughter ripples around the ring. A subtle magnetism anchoring conversation whenever it drifts. Notice what she is not doing. No self-deprecation fishing for compliments. No invented stories to match the room's heat. Her sentences leave room for echoes. Her pauses invite others forward. She embodies what Epictetus described. Nature gave us one tongue and two ears so we might listen more. In practice, most listen to reload. She listens to receive. That distinction feels revolutionary, and revolutions draw crowds. A photographer hired for the event snaps candid shots. Reviewing the thumbnails, he lingers on one frame. People angled inward like petals. Lena, the quiet center. He zooms, studying that effortless gravitation. Later, he asks permission to post it. She nods but requests no tag. Fame by metadata is still fame. She does not need the dopamine badge. The photographer, puzzled yet impressed, captions the image, gravity in human form. Overnight, the photo racks hundreds of likes, proof that attention often chases those least worried about holding it. The night deepens. A DJ starts a set, bass thumping like a second heartbeat. Crowds migrate to the makeshift dance floor. Someone tugs Lena's wrist. "Come dance." She obliges, not to prove anything, just to experience the moment fully. On the floor, her movements are spare, rhythmic, aligned with the beat rather than above it. She isn't filming herself. She isn't checking who's watching. Even so, or perhaps because so, people clear space unconsciously, the way water parts for a moving oar. Psychologists call this self-determined presence. Stoics know it simply as living in accordance with nature. Mind clear, actions deliberate, inner approval sufficient. When you do that, crowds feel it. They may not name it, but they mirror it. Voices lower, gestures grow measured. A shared exhale sweeps the room. Presence becomes the silent conductor. Near midnight, she gathers her wrap and heads for the elevator. Passing the influencer, she offers a polite nod. The influencer, a touch hoarse from hours of projection, blurts, "I don't know how you do that." "Do what?" "Make people come to you." Lena tilts her head, considering. "I don't," she answers gently. "I stay where I am." Doors slide closed. The influencer stands blinking, as if someone just handed her a secret too simple to believe. Here is the secret spelled out. Anchor internally. Values, breath, posture. Observe before speaking. Curiosity outranks performance. Offer precision, not excess. Words weighted like coins, not confetti. Release outcome. Attention is a guest. You don't chase guests down the street. Practice these small acts consistently, and the chandelier of collective focus swings your way without a tug. The rare woman knows that chasing attention is like chasing sunlight. You end up running west while the earth turns east. Stand still, cultivate warmth, and light arrives on schedule. As she steps into the night air, city sounds soften under a veil of late-hour hush. Her phone lights with new follow requests, a text from the fintech founder, "Your question reshaped our roadmap," and a DM from the photographer sharing that viral image. She smiles, pockets the device, and lets it buzz unanswered for now. Because command, true command, is the freedom to pause before responding, to choose one's own timing instead of dancing to the ping of perpetual invitation. Tomorrow, another rooftop, boardroom, or family reunion will assemble its noise and expectations. She will show up again, centered, lantern lit from within. Maybe the crowd notices, maybe not. Either outcome rests outside her circle of control. What matters is the way she stands, self-aligned, gravity-rooted, and how that silent stance reminds onlookers even if only subconsciously, that they too could quit the chase and let presence speak first. They told her to prepare something brief for the quarterly board meeting, which translates in most offices to a 20-slide deck drowning in charts that no one will remember. She decides instead to arrive with a single sheet of heavyweight paper. No flashy template, just a centered title, Q3 Reality Check, followed by 4 bullet points in 12-point serif font. The night before, she trimmed a dozen paragraphs down to these 4 lines. Each word weighed like a jewel on a scale, excess sanded off, impact left intact. Morning sunlight slants across the mahogany table as directors file in, clutching espresso and expectation. Laptops flare open, cursors hover over docked presentation apps. She remains seated, closed notebook beside her, palms resting lightly on the cover, a silent refusal to perform the usual pre-meeting shuffle. Seneca once observed, "Speech devoted to truth should be plain and unadorned." Her posture makes the same argument before her mouth even opens. When the chair nods for the financial segment, a colleague from accounting launches into a scroll of jargon. Amortizations, synergistic realignments, upstream liabilities. Eyes glaze, fingers sneak toward phones. She watches the collective attention bleed away, not in buckets, but in thin, hurried trickles. When her turn arrives, she stands, slides the lone page forward and says, "I'll be 5 minutes, 3 to talk, 2 to listen." The room stills, half curious, half relieved. She begins with a question, not a statement. If our cash runway vanished tomorrow, which core value would keep us alive? Silence, intertwined with a hint of confusion. Questions demand engagement. Monologues demand patience. She gives them 8 beats to marinate, then lifts her pen and taps the first bullet. Margin. Built on trust. An 8-word phrase encompassing months of customer feedback that boiled down to, "We pay because we believe you." She adds no adjectives, no side anecdotes. The directors lean forward. There's room now for their minds to enter the conversation instead of standing outside like passengers unable to board an overstuffed train. Second bullet. Costs rising faster than candor. She lets the tension hang for one full inhale. Exhale. Someone clears his throat. Another scribbles a note. She elaborates with a 30-second data point. Supplier prices up 12%. Transparency with customers lagging behind at 4%. A gap that erodes goodwill. She doesn't list all 20 variables. She chooses the 2 that matter, price and honesty. Like paring down a blade until only steel remains, sharp enough to cut, but light enough to wield. By the third bullet, innovation. Stalled at MVP level, people's laptops are closing of their own accord, not forced by shame, but magnetized by relevance. She cites one metric, 90-day commit velocity flatlined for the first time since Series A. No blame, no dramatics. Numbers speak louder than adjectives when you let them hold the floor. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Mastery of language is not embellishment, it is clarity." She wields clarity the way a lighthouse wields light. Steady, directionally precise, saving ships without shouting. Fourth bullet, opportunity. Build less, explain more. Here she invites the directors in. Our users grasp 8% of the platform's capability. Imagine the lifetime value if they grasped 20. A pause. Then she asks each board member to identify one feature they believe customers actually use weekly. As they hazard guesses, they realize their own uncertainty. She smiles, not triumphant, simply confirming the need for her point. When misalignment reveals itself, the fewest words are often the sharpest scalpel. 3 minutes pass. She caps her pen. "Your turn," she says, and sits. Directors glance around, unused to being handed the mic so swiftly. Yet the conversation that follows is the richest the board has held all year. No one retreats behind baroque slide decks. They wrestle openly with the 4 distilled truths before them. By meeting's end, they've sketched actionable steps. Publish a pricing transparency dashboard, reprioritize quality over quantity in the next sprint, allocate budget to a user education initiative. The rare woman spoke barely 300 words, but the board produced 3,000 in response. Power. Inverted. Afterward, the CFO approaches her in the corridor. Your brevity is unsettling and effective, he confesses, half smiling. She nods. Brevity unsettles because it hands the listener a mirror. No swirling prose to hide behind, just the raw reflection of what is. She learned this art over years of morning journaling limited to one page, ruthlessly striking filler words, an internal exercise that spills effortlessly into external speech. That evening, a direct report messages her, "Can you teach me to present like that?" She responds with 3 steps, nothing more. Audit every sentence for purpose. If the sentence only flatters ego or fills silence, cut it. Exchange assurance for inquiry. Begin with a question. People own answers they discover. Embrace the pregnant pause. Silence isn't empty. It's the canvas where understanding paints itself. He replies with a gif of someone mind blown. She types a smiling emoji, then logs off without a parting flourish. Another opportunity to practice. Even digital chatter benefits from disciplined economy. But make no mistake, saying less isn't about hoarding secrets or playing coy. It is about respecting bandwidth, yours and theirs. In a culture that fire hoses information, the rare woman offers sips of cold, clear water. Listeners drink deeply, then seek her out again because clarity is addictive once tasted. Weeks later, the board chair references her one-pager in an all-hands email. Moving forward, we will ground discussions in concise briefs, maximum 1 page. A company culture begins to bend, proof that minimalism scales when modeled with confidence. Aristides wrote that a single drop of potent dye can color an entire vat. Her distilled language dyes the fabric of an organization, but the broader impact reaches beyond corporate halls. At dinner with friends, she's the one who pauses before answering gossip, who recalibrates a heated debate with a single, precise observation. In tense family texts, she replies with a question that reframes the conflict, not a paragraph that fans it. Her gift of fewer words becomes a portable peace treaty, signed wherever she travels. Because here is the Stoic bottom line. Verbosity often masks anxiety, fear that you'll be misunderstood unless you paint every corner of a story. Yet the rare woman trusts her meaning to carry on lean legs. She allows spaces between sentences, the way a composer rests between notes, trusting the audience to feel the rhythm rather than be bludgeoned by sound. So next time you draft an email, rehearse a pitch or console a friend, borrow her discipline. Ask, what is the heartbeat of this message? Then prune everything that is not pulse. You will feel exposed at first, like stepping outside without armor, but you will also feel light, mobile, unmistakably clear. And clarity, quiet, unforced clarity, is its own kind of charisma. People follow it the way sailors follow constellations, by instinct, by relief, by the promise of arriving somewhere true. Saturday brunch, oak-lined patio, sunlight sifting through umbrellas the color of ripe peaches. 7 friends cluster around a mosaic table littered with half-empty mimosa flutes, phones stacked in the middle, an honor system that rarely lasts. Conversation zigzags from vacation plans to office gossip, light enough until a spark lands. Someone mentions an absent friend's cryptic Instagram post. In seconds, the table tilts from laughter to speculation. Who's she shade posting? Why didn't she invite us? What does that hashtag really mean? Voices overlap, eyebrows arch, alliances surface like dorsal fins cutting water. She, the rare woman, spoons honey into her tea and watches, not disengaged, but seeing the swell before it crests. Years ago, she would have paddled straight into the surf, adding theories, defending loyalties, inflating the narrative until everyone left slick with resentment. Now she recognizes drama as emotional fast food, salty, addictive, nutrient-light. Stoicism taught her that agitation often begins as borrowed concern. Return it to sender and calm remains yours. Two friends volley accusations about a missing birthday invite. Another starts scrolling the absent friend's feed for receipts. Volume rises, heat gathers. One glass tips, catches sunlight, and clinks back. An omen. She sets her cup down, brushes a crumb from her lap, and says, "Excuse me a sec. Restroom." No announcement, no eye-rolling exit. Just a polite lecture, as Epictetus might say, a minimal utterance, sufficient for purpose. Inside the cafe corridor she pauses, not to check her own phone, but to breathe in the citrus and espresso air, letting the adrenal static wash off. She recalls the Stoic tactic of view from above, imagining the cafe as a speck on a speck hurtling through space. From that altitude, group chat melodrama shrinks to a dust mote. One more breath, and she walks, not to the restroom, but to the register. "Could I close out table 7? She asks the barista. She pays her share plus tip, pockets the receipt, and texts the host a simple line. "Paid my portion. Thanks for the invite. Enjoy the day." She is gone before the threads of argument can loop her back in. Some would call it ghosting. She calls it boundary maintenance. Outside, city sounds replace gossip, buses exhaling, a saxophone busker riffing on autumn leaves. She lets the sidewalk carry her forward, safeguarding the calm she cultivates like a small fire sheltered from wind. 10 minutes later, her phone vibrates, group chat notifications exploding. She flips the device face down in her tote. Reaction is optional. Serenity is not. At home, she slices apples, sprinkles cinnamon, opens Marcus Aurelius to Book 6. If an action does not alter the course of virtue, let it slide as water off marble. Drama is water. She is polishing her marble. Mid-afternoon, one brunch friend texts privately, "Where'd you bounce to? They're saying you took sides." She thumbs a patient reply. "No sides. Just needed quiet. Let's catch up tomorrow if you'd like." No defense, no apology. She refuses the hook baited with guilt because she knows hooks only pierce when swallowed. Evening drapes in lavender. The same friend calls, voice deflated. The brunch ended badly. Feelings bruised, alliances cracked. "Maybe we all overreacted," she admits. The rare woman listens, offers no "I told you so," just breath-spaced questions. What triggered the spiral? How might you address it directly with her? She suggests writing a calm message to the maligned friend, fact-checking before feeling-checking. By midnight, the two estranged friends are exchanging earnest voice notes. Drama, extinguished at its source, leaves a residue of relief. Notice. She changed the day's trajectory not by lecturing or mediating, but by absenting herself. Walking away can be louder than rebuttal, a clarion reminder that participation is consent. Toxic fires often die from oxygen deprivation. She supplies the absence. This skill didn't bloom overnight. She practiced micro-exits for years, leaving social media threads once sarcasm outnumbered insight, steering phone calls toward solutions, then saying goodbye when loops persisted, excusing herself from office rumor mills with a neutral, "I've got to prep for the next meeting." Each small withdrawal built muscle memory until her nervous system recognized exit as self-care, not cowardice. Critics might call her aloof, let them. Stoicism teaches indifference to judgments that do not shape virtue. What does shape virtue is the clarity bought with every step out of turmoil, the bandwidth to read, to create, to sleep unruminating. She invests that reclaimed energy in pursuits drama addicts rarely touch. Learning Italian verbs, perfecting a yoga inversion, volunteering at the literacy non-profit where attention is currency. Months later, she attends another brunch, smaller circle, warmer vibe. Mid-meal, a fresh spark threatens. A misinterpreted text pops up on someone's smartwatch. Eyes widen, breaths quicken. She feels the old tide gather. Before it crashes, she catches the sender's eye and says gently, "Shall we ask her directly instead of building a theory?" The question lands like a soft weight, recentering the table. No exodus required this time. Her earlier example rewired expectations. Drama still knocks, but now the group knows they can choose not to open. Here lies the deeper lesson. Walking away isn't always physical distance. Sometimes it is a sentence that redirects, a a silence that refuses escalation, a calm presence that suggests a harder path, truth over theatrics. She wields all three, selecting the lightest tool that works. If you wish to emulate her, start small. Next time a friend brings fresh gossip, pause before responding. Ask, do we have the full story? If the answer is no, consider staying neutral or steering to something constructive. In work meetings, when tension spikes, propose a 5-minute break. Let cortisol levels settle before words keep digging, and remember, you owe no thesis-length defense for choosing peace. A simple, I need to step away, respects both parties' dignity. Seneca likened anger to temporary madness. Drama is its theatrical cousin, entertaining until the curtain drops on relationships. The rare woman keeps her ticket money, preferring shows that uplift, not unravel. By declining roles in petty productions, she auditions for a grander play. A life where energy aligns with purpose, conversations nourish, and exits, when necessary, are graceful curtain calls rather than slammed doors. As she journals that night, she writes a 3-line mantra. I am not a stage. I am not an audience. I am the space where calm decides whether to enter. Then she closes the notebook, blows out the bedside candle, and sleeps the untroubled sleep of someone who knows that the surest defense against storms is often simply stepping out of the rain. Tuesday evening, neighborhood park. The sky washed lavender just before the lamps click on. A boy no older than 8 teeters by the pond's edge, remote control sailboat in hand. Gusts keep spinning the tiny craft in circles. Frustration curls his shoulders. A jogger in neon shoots past, earbuds sealing him from everything but his playlist. A pair of teens laugh at a meme, tagging each other louder than the ducks. And there she is, bench beneath a willow, notebook balanced on one knee, pen hovering between thoughts. She notices the boy's rising panic when the boat smacks the reeds and tips. His eyes glisten. He kneels, palms muddy. Without hesitation, she snaps her notebook shut, walks over, and crouches beside him. Mind if I lend a hand? She asks, voice pitched low so worry doesn't echo. He nods, wiping his cheek with a sleeve. She studies the toy rigging, frees the twig snarled in its rudder, and sets it afloat again, explaining how wind angles work. Knees damp, blouse lightly dusted with shore grit. The boy beams, sails steady, crisis diffused. That's her kindness, immediate, practical, delivered with equal gaze. No condescension, just sister humanity. Minutes later, the boy's father hustles over, tie loosened, tension high. Hey, what are you doing with my kid? The tone slices the air. Protective instinct? Understandable. But it assumes guilt first, gratitude later. The rare woman straightens slowly, meeting his glare without recoil. Kind eyes, steel spine, helping him free his boat, she says evenly, gesturing to the pond. We're good now, right? No apology. She's done nothing wrong. Yet no aggression. She sees his fear beneath the bark. The father's shoulders slump. He mutters thanks, half embarrassed, gathers his son, and walks off. Here lies the boundary's first lesson. Kindness shouldn't morph into self-erasure. She refuses to contort into sorry for existing shapes whenever someone projects suspicion. Courteous clarity, then back to center. That is her method. Marcus Aurelius urged, do not be passive, be impenetrable as justice, but gentle as mercy. She threads both qualities in one breath. Back home, she finds 2 voicemails. The first from her mother, warm, meandering, a recipe recited twice just in case. The second from a colleague who chronically overshoots deadlines, asking if she can work her magic on a nearly botched presentation due tomorrow. She texts Mom a heart and a promise to call Saturday. Then she drafts a reply to the colleague. I'm booked solid. Can review next week, but tonight belongs to my project. Cursor blinks. She hesitates. A familiar tug to over-deliver. Smooth paths. Solve everyone's scramble. Years in people-pleasing rehab taught her that a quick save often costs a long resentment. She hits send. Immediately, 3 dots pulse in response. But leadership expects my deck in the morning. She exhales, feeling the old reflex coil. Just this once, stay up late, rescue. Instead, she writes, "Understood. Best option is to flag the delay to them tonight so you have support. Period. No nervously stacked emojis, no guilt-laden backpedal. Boundary delivered like a clear road sign. Firm, readable, final. Kindness without boundaries is a leaky bucket. Pour all you want, you'll still feel empty." She learned that after years of being the reliable one, the co-worker family leaned on until her immune system rebelled. Migraines, insomnia, the body's protest to overextension. Stoic journaling became triage. Each night she listed the day's favors and asked which served virtue and which fed vanity. Slowly, a pattern. Offers rooted in genuine goodwill energized her. Rescues rooted in fear of disapproval drained her. So she began the audit, trimming fear-driven yeses, fertilizing value-driven ones. Tonight's firm no grants space for a leisurely dinner and an hour at the pottery wheel, hands centering clay as mind unwinds. When her phone dings again, she ignores it. The wet clay demands both palms. Discipline in digital silence reinforces boundary muscle. Epictetus warned, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom, for her, is the right to finish glazing a bowl without apologies. The next morning she arrives at the office to hushed turmoil. The colleagues' deck unfinished, leadership looped in. Yet instead of reprimand, the hastily assembled team discovers the gap and rallies. Project delayed by a day, yes, but distributed across 3 contributors, not dumped on a single mule. Afterward, the colleague approaches her, sheepish. "You were right. I needed to own it earlier. Thanks for pushing me." Kindness again, but with an iron ingredient, accountability. Lunch break finds her in the courtyard when a friend calls, sobbing, boyfriend ghosted, birthday looming. The friend begs her to fly across the state tonight for emergency comfort. She listens, validates feelings, and says, "I love you. I can't travel midweek, but let's video chat tonight and plan something nourishing for your birthday." The friend protests, teary. She holds steady, compassion intact, schedule intact. Because real support doesn't always mean physical presence. It means consistent presence within realistic capacity. She refuses the cultural equation that love equals self-sacrifice unto depletion. Boundary skeptics often accuse her of hardness, misreading firmness for coldness. Yet those closest know her warmth better than ever, precisely because it isn't diffused across endless obligations. Evenings with her niece baking oatmeal cookies, weekends tutoring refugees in conversational English. These acts shine brighter because they're chosen, not compulsory. Friday comes, quarterly charity gala, champagne bubbling under crystal chandeliers. She's on the donor list, but tonight she declines. Instead, she babysits her neighbor's toddler so the single mum can attend. Kindness, present, boundaries, honored. She'd rather fundraise quietly online than network in stilettos. Later, the mum returns weepy with gratitude. The toddler sleeps, house tidied, dishes drying. "I owe you," the mum whispers. She shakes her head. "We're even. Your kid's laughter was payment. Generosity doesn't tally debts. Boundaries ensure it stays joyful." Before bed, she scribbles 3 lines in her journal, heart open, gate locked. Help freely, heal first. Yes is sunlight, no is shelter. She closes the notebook knowing tomorrow may test those lines again. Perhaps a sibling's demand or a stranger's plea. Tests aren't threats. They're reps in the gym of self-mastery. Each clear yes and clean no strengthens the lattice of her life, letting kindness climb like ivy without collapsing the wall. If you seek her model, start by mapping your energy leaks. Where do favors turn to fatigue? Where does just this once repeat weekly? Draw a simple circle. Inside, responsibilities that honor your values. Outside, tasks born of guilt or reputation polishing. Practice saying, "Not this time," to one outside request this week. Offer an alternative if you wish, but don't dilute the boundary. Notice the immediate whisper of relief in your chest. That's integrity exhaling. Kind yet iron boundaries aren't about keeping people out. They're about keeping goodness sustainable. A well-drawn fence protects the garden so fruit can ripen. Visitors are welcome, weeds are pulled, and the harvest feeds many, just not at the cost of the soil's health. The rare woman tends her soil daily, trowel in one hand, gate key in the other, proving that softness and strength are not enemies but twin ribs of the same unbreakable heart. Sunday dawn, rain tapping the skylight like muted applause. She wakes without an alarm, stretches, and swipes on the bedside lamp. No need to broadcast early bird grind to social media. Her phone remains on the dresser, silent sentinel. For the past 18 months, she's been learning code at 5 a.m., 1 quiet hour a day, courted not by public praise, but by the hum of curiosity itself. Today, she cracks open her laptop, resuming a project nobody else knows exists. A minimalist budgeting app that translates Stoic principles, control what you can, track what matters, into clean lines of JavaScript. Lines compile, a tiny green check marks success. She smiles, slips into runners, and heads to a cafe where baristas greet her by name, but not by occupation, because she never inflated her day job title or her side pursuits. At a corner table, she refactors functions while rain beads the windows. Customers scroll reels of influencers flaunting rise and grind montages. She writes one more test case, closes the lid, and leaves unseen. By noon, she's at a family picnic. Cousins compare promotions, new cars, crash diets. They tease her for same old position, same old sedan. She laughs, passes the potato salad, offers no resume bullet that she quietly negotiated a remote work clause 6 months ago to free early mornings for coding. Stoicism reminds her glory measured by others is a leash. She'd rather walk leash-free, growth unfolding like a seed underground. Silent, inevitable. At work, she's still the operations lead. Efficient but predictable, colleagues assume. What they don't see: lunch breaks spent sketching UX wireframes, commutes filled with podcast lectures on scalable back-end architecture. She doesn't seek a mentor badge or startup hoodie yet. She gathers proof of concept first. Growing in stealth feels like planting bamboo. Years of unseen root work before a sudden skyward leap. One Tuesday, her manager announces a new cost-tracking initiative. Vendors overcharge, Excel sheets break, stakeholders kvetch. The meeting spirals. Suggestions pile high but brittle. She sits back, fingers steepled. After listening, she says softly, "I've been tinkering with a lightweight solution at home. Might fit our needs." Heads swivel. The manager blinks. She airdrops the prototype to the projector. Simplicity fills the screen. 3 tabs, color-coded alerts, real-time vendor histories. Stakeholders lean forward, eyebrows piston up. "You built this?" the CFO asks. She nods once, clicks through a demo. No hype, just function. Within minutes, the room's overwhelm melts into relieved curiosity. The manager schedules a follow-up to pilot her app. Conversation turns to implementation timelines. Nobody asks about her side gig Instagram because there isn't one. News spreads. Co-workers marvel. When did she even learn to code? She shrugs. Little by little. The app goes live, saving the firm mid-6 figures in redundant fees within a quarter. Leadership offers her a newly carved role, Director of Process Innovation. She thanks them, negotiates autonomy terms, then updates her LinkedIn quietly. No fireworks emoji, just new responsibilities. That night, her group chat lights up. "Why didn't you tell us you were building software?" Friends half playful, half peeved at the pleasant shock. She replies with a gif of bamboo sprouting and the text, "Roots first." One buddy calls her secretly legendary. She laughs. Legendary is a word best assigned by others, not self-proclaimed. She celebrates by booking a solo weekend retreat in the mountains. No reception, just pine and silence. There, journal open, she records lessons from stealth growth. Momentum thrives in privacy. Work felt lighter without the drag of explaining daily progress to curious spectators. Identity stays fluid. Avoiding early labels kept her experiment playful, pressure low. Reputation blooms later and faster. When results speak, introductions write themselves. On the return drive, she stops at a roadside diner. The waitress, seeing her laptop stickers, Mentions she's teaching herself graphic design but feels embarrassed by beginner art. The rare woman smiles, scribbles a note. Create 50 mock logos before posting one. Skill ripens off camera. She leaves it under the tip. Back in the city, awards committee emails her to nominate the cost tracking app for an industry prize. She politely declines personal credit, suggesting the company be listed as recipient with the dev team acknowledged collectively. Some peers assume false modesty. Truth is, she anchors identity in inner mastery, not plaques. Seneca wrote, "A great mind values itself, not the opinion of the crowd." She lives the line. Months pass. A tech journalist uncovers the app's origin story, framing her as a quiet disruptor. Interviews request a soundbite about overnight success. She corrects them. 18 months of dawns. They print the quote. Students plaster it on dorm doors. She chuckles. Irony, perhaps. But inspiration was never hers to ration. She just tended her roots. If you're tempted to broadcast every step of your journey for validation, consider her blueprint. Carve a sacred slot in your day. Early mornings, late nights, where work grows unobserved. Track progress privately. Let journals witness your fledgling drafts without judgment. Resist the urge to prematurely announce milestones. Public eyes can freeze evolving ideas in amber before they're ready. When output finally lands, let results do the talking, not teasers. Invisible growth isn't secrecy, it's incubation. Butterflies, diamonds, sourdough starter. Many wonders mature concealed. Human potential is no different. The rare woman trusts that when readiness meets opportunity, unveiling feels organic, not performative. One evening she hosts a small dinner, candlelight flickering over roasted vegetables. A friend fussing with social media live stream settings asks, "Aren't you going to share this success speech with your followers?" She smiles, slicing bread. Some meals nourish best when eaten, not posted. They laugh, plates clink, and the moment passes unrecorded yet fully lived. Before bed, she updates her home whiteboard. A new idea, an educational platform teaching quiet mastery methods to underserved communities. She writes 3 words beneath it. Sprout in silence. Lamp clicks off. Rain starts again. Applause softer this time. Saluting roots at work in the dark. Preparing their sudden symphony for another dawn. Wednesday, 10:07 a.m. in the office micro kitchen, espresso machine hissing, pastry boxes open like treasure chests. Co-workers clustering around the island counter for their mid-morning gossip fix. It starts innocently. Someone sighs about a client call, then snowballs. "Did you hear Sam might be leaving? I saw Kelly having lunch with HR, probably negotiating." The tone grows sugar rush sharp. Words flip into judgments into character autopsies. That's when you, yes, you, the rare woman in this story, step in for hot water and green tea. You sense the room pivot, eyes brighten, voices lower to the conspiratorial register. One colleague nudges a box of cronuts your direction, sweetening the setup. "Grab one and tell us what you know about Kelly." You stir your tea bag instead. Gaze neutral. Internal checklist clicks. 1. Did Kelly confide in me? Number 2. Do I possess facts that might help her? Not yet. 3. Would speculating honor virtue? Absolutely not. Decision made. Not my story to tell, you say, tone gentle, spoon tapping porcelain once. A soft period at the end of the sentence. The group blinks. Someone chuckles, tries again. "Come on, you're always in the loop." You raise an eyebrow, sip tea, let silence widen like a moat. Stoicism's first defense against gossip is deliberate stillness. A rumor starves when no host repeats it. Moments stretch. Without fresh fuel, the topic sputters, veers toward last night's reality show. You exit, mug warm in hand, leaving behind a faint draft of disappointment mixed with grudging respect. They may not say it, but they feel it. Your refusal drew a line between casual chatter and character defamation. Seneca wrote, "Whoever gossips to you will gossip of you." You take him at his word. But here's the twist. Abstaining from gossip doesn't grant immunity. By lunchtime, you're the headline. Slack buzzes with new rumors. She must be hiding something for Kelly. She's so self-righteous. Bet she's angling for a promotion. Without saying a word, you've become story fodder. The paradox is almost comic. The quieter you stand, the louder they narrate around you. Pause the film here to notice the Stoic crossroads. One path, indignation, a flurry of clarifying messages, maybe an all-staff note about workplace culture, attempts to weld your reputation back into its true shape. The other path, acceptance. Reputation lives in other minds, beyond your sovereignty. You choose the latter, because Marcus Aurelius reminds you, I cannot be harmed by another's opinion unless I permit it. So you let them talk. That evening, after work drinks at a candle-lit bar, background jazz curls like blue smoke. A teammate perches beside you, lowers her voice. I heard you're secretly dating upper management. That why you kept quiet? The accusation arrives coated in forced levity, but you hear the barb. You set your glass down, meet her eyes steadily. I don't trade rumors, you reply. But if you want to know something about me, ask directly. Just know I'll give you the real answer, not the salacious one. A beat. She flushes, mutters, fair, and changes the subject. Your boundary stands, concrete poured in courtesy. Friday quarterly town hall. Leadership praises collaboration. HR announces a new ethics initiative targeting, among other things, the corrosive effects of rumor culture. They name you to the task force drafting guidelines. Ironic? Maybe. But influence often follows those who demonstrate the standard rather than preach it. You accept, add a single stipulation. All members must commit to a 30-day gossip fast to pilot the policy. Some balk, yet curiosity wins. Challenge accepted. During the fast, you propose a rule. Verify, then speak, or stay silent. Each time a juicy tidbit surfaces, task force members must ask 3 questions. Source, first-hand or hearsay. Intent, to help or to harm. Consent, does the subject know this will be shared? Fail anyone, and the info stops there. Within 2 weeks, break room noise dips. Productivity metrics tick upward. People feel lighter because energy previously spent on rumor logistics now fuels real work. Mid-experiment Kelly, the co-worker at the rumor's epicenter, returns from lunch beaming. She announces a lateral move to a dream team in another division, a step she negotiated quietly. Turns out, your silence had shielded details while HR finalized the transfer. She thanks you privately. Your discretion gave me space to breathe. You nod, replying only, glad it worked out. No victory speech needed. Yet gossip about you still stirs. A different colleague corners you. It's like you think you're above us. We just talk to kill time. You act like words are weapons. You listen, then answer. Words can be weapons. I choose not to draw first. Calm even, sword still sheathed. The colleague scoffs but files the remark away. A seed of awareness finds soil. That night you debrief in your journal. I cannot mute every tongue, but I can master my own. Underneath you list tactics refined this week. Use curiosity as deflection. Ask, why do you need that information? 9 times out of 10, the gossiper stumbles. Offer facts or refrain entirely. Half-truths invite embellishment. Silence offers no hooks. Normalize directness. Encourage co-workers to ask subjects, not surrogates. Model graceful exits. Physical departure or topic pivot signals boundaries without sermon. Saturday morning farmer's market. Sunlight dripping off fruit stalls. A stranger stops you. Friend of a friend. Heard you're the office vault. You laugh. Better a vault than a megaphone. She nods, approving. Reputations evolve. From secretive, you morph into trustworthy. Same action, different lens, shaped by time and consistency. Trust soon pays dividends. A senior VP invites you to confidential meetings. She needs someone who can keep strategy leaks from derailing negotiations. You attend, contribute, exit, tight-lipped. Promotions follow not because you schemed, but because reliability is currency in short supply. Months later, the task force releases a simple pledge company-wide: speak truth or speak not at all. Surprisingly, sign-ups skyrocket. The Gossip Fast diaries reveal fringe benefits: less anxiety, more cohesive teams, shorter meetings. People rediscover hobbies: guitar, ceramics, marathons, because mind space once occupied by rumor loops is suddenly free. Does gossip vanish? Number humankind loves stories too dearly, but frequency drops, edges dull. And when your name surfaces, you notice critiques grow fairer, based on observable behavior, not whispered conjecture. The office learns to separate "I dislike her" boundary from "she must be up to something." Clarity germinates. You still encounter pockets of resistance, those who equate discretion with aloofness, but you accept that misunderstanding is the tax for principled speech. As Epictetus counseled, you focus on what lies within the citadel of your control, your logos, the rational faculty that chooses words like a steward chooses investments, aiming for long-term yield, not flashy volatility. Your closing ritual each night: recite 3 simple lines before sleep. I guard my tongue to guard my peace. I let others write their drafts of me. I write my own. Where rumor ends, clarity can begin. Then lights out, conscience clear. For tomorrow, fresh whispers may swirl, but you'll meet them with the same steady ladle of truth or silence, proving day after day that the strongest voice in any room is often the one confident enough to speak less and mean more, even when the echo chamber clamours for scandal. It is 3:14 a.m. when the call slices your sleep. A trembling voice at the other end, your younger brother, speaking through tears. The words clump together like wet sand, but you piece them apart. Car accident, ICU, mom in surgery. Within minutes you're dressed, out the door, keys jangling like alarm bells. The freeway blurs, headlights smear across rain-slick asphalt, and every mile feels like a decade you might not get back. At the hospital, you learn the prognosis: multiple fractures, collapsed lung, guarded condition. Nurses chart vitals in hushed rhythms. Monitors beep with indifferent cadence. Shock sets its claws, cold and clinical, yet beneath it something steadier pulses. You breathe deep, recall Marcus Aurelius. Do not let your mind run on what you lack. Focus on the best you have left. Right now, the best you have is presence. So you hold your brother's trembling hand and say, "We'll stand watch." Hours stretch. You pace corridors smelling of disinfectant and boiled coffee, replaying memories. Mum teaching you to ride a bike, clapping as you wobbled. Mum quilting late-night blankets after your first heartbreak. Each recollection could slice, but instead you file them as reasons to remain clear. Pain, you decide, will not draft the narrative. You will. 3 days pass before doctors declare her stable enough for surgery too. In the waiting room, you crack open a notebook, not to chronicle despair, but to draft a ledger of lessons pain is offering. Line 1, fragility clarifies priorities. Line 2, love is most visible under fluorescent midnight lights. You write until the pen tip squeaks, lullabying your nerves with ordered ink. Journaling is your crucible. Thoughts enter molten, exit forged. On day 4, HR calls. Corporate restructuring. Your position eliminated effective immediately. Severance packet to follow. The timing feels cruel. Unpaid leave morphing into unemployment. But outrage finds no foothold. You recognize the Stoic dichotomy. External job gone, internal competence intact. You close your eyes, summon gratitude that paperwork can wait while life hangs in balance. A friend texts, urging you to sue, to vent, to post a furious LinkedIn rant. You silence the thread. Fuel spent grieving cannot double as fuel for growth. Week 2. Mom begins physical therapy, stubborn and humorous. Nurses make terrible drill sergeants, she jokes, wincing through leg lifts. Her resilience becomes mirror and mentor. Between sessions, you draft resumes on your phone, but with a twist. You list not just skills, but values: clarity, integrity, adaptability. Virtues sharpened in real-time crisis. Employers might call them soft, You know they are steel. Bills loom. Insurance tussles. One night the barrage unravels your composure. Tears finally spill, silent, steady as rain down a window pane. You allow them, no judgment. Seneca advised, tears may be shed, but they must not drown us. So you cry, breathe, then ask the tears their message, that you are human, not granite. Message received, tears dry, resolve resets. You begin translating hospital wisdom into a framework. While mom naps, you draft a blog post, turning trial into toolkit, 5 hospital bench Stoic practices. You publish anonymously. No fanfare, just a breadcrumb for fellow night shift warriors. Within days, strangers comment, sharing their own corridors of grief, thanking you for the flashlight. Pain's alchemy begins. Injury transmuted into insight, shared freely. Month 2, interview season. Recruiters offer roles similar to your old one, but your lens has changed. You gravitate toward a non-profit optimizing medical billing transparency, mission born from the labyrinth you just navigated. During the panel, they ask about a time you overcame hardship. You explain coding invoices on a cafeteria tray while advocating for your mother's care plan, all without flinching into victimhood. Eyes widen, pens scribble. You receive the offer within 24 hours. Mum returns home in a wheelchair decorated with bumper stickers your niece designed. Grandma on wheels. Rehabilitation will be long, but laughter rings again in hallways once haunted by sirens. You restructure your mornings. Therapy escort first, remote work midday, evening walks pushing the chair beneath blooming jacarandas. Each push is a rep of gratitude, weight training your heart. One Saturday, community center hosts a caregiver support circle. You attend to listen, but facilitator falls ill. Attendees mill about uncertain. You volunteer spontaneously to guide. Using your ledger, you lead a session on reframing adversity. Name 3 skills hardship is teaching you today. Faces soften, pens move. By closing, tears mingle with relieved smiles. Proof that your wounds, stitched with purpose, have become salve for others. News circulates at work about your side facilitation. HR asks if you'll launch an internal resilience workshop. Old you might fear spotlight. New you recognizes service. You agree. Designing modules titled Stoic First Aid, Respond, Don't React. Colleagues emerge saying the course shrunk their anxiety spirals. Your own spiral? It unwinds a little more each time you teach. Winter solstice arrives. Snow drapes rooftops, replacing hospital memories with silent light. Mom graduates to a cane and insists on baking her signature apple tart. You slice apples, noting how scars on her wrist catch candle glow. Scars, visible testament to injury survived. You realize your inner scars glow too, but only because you polished them into mirrors reflecting lessons, not shadows. That night, journaling by firelight, you distill the journey into 3 columns: pain event, mom's accident, immediate emotion, panic, wisdom extracted. Cherish ordinary mornings. Pain event, job loss, immediate emotion, fear, wisdom extracted, skills outlive titles. You stare at the table, heartbeat calm. Pain no longer reads as random strike. It charts a curriculum. You close the journal, whisper a thanks to the universe, to fate, to whatever tutors souls through hardship. Months later, you speak at a medical conference panel on patient advocacy. A moderator introduces you as a catalyst turning personal tragedy into systemic solutions. You step to the mic, nerves quiet, and open not with credentials, but with a question. Show of hands. Who here has waited sleepless beside a beeping monitor? Hands rise. Empathy fuses room into single pulse. You then share your toolkit, concise, actionable, finished with Aurelius's line. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Applause feels less like praise, more like collective exhale. Do bruises vanish? Number on anniversaries. Images flash unbidden, spinning headlights, sterile corridors. But they pass like dark birds across sun, brief, instructive. Each flash reminds you scars can itch, yet still be weatherproof. And if tomorrow new pain arrives, because life promises it will, you're ready to greet it as apprentice rather than adversary. You'll ask, what lesson hides inside this sting? And write it down before the ink of memory dries. Wisdom, after all, is not the absence of wounds, but the synthesis of them into compass points. Tonight, you tuck Mom in, light dimmed low. She squeezes your hand, whispers, "You've been my strength." You squeeze back, thinking how her fight forged yours. Walking home under sharp stars, you feel the quiet pride of alchemy completed, hurt transfigured into help, chaos into clarity, fate into chosen response. Stoicism teaches we can't choose our raw metal, but we can choose the blade we forge from it. And you rare woman, carry a blade honed by fire, tempered by compassion, wielded for good. In a world that rewards noise, these 8 signs reveal a rarer power, the quiet woman who governs herself. She is calm when chaos erupts, draws attention without chasing it, speaks with precision, exits drama unapologetically, pairs kindness with iron-strong boundaries, cultivates her growth in private, silences gossip by example, and converts pain into wisdom. Together, they form one unbreakable mosaic, a life directed from the inside out, where Stoic virtue isn't an ancient idea, but a daily, deliberate choice.